Today I am making Spanakopitakia. Spanakopitakia translates to mini spinach pie. It's a very common and delicious Greek dish. To begin, I'm going to take a yellow onion and I'm going to dice this very finely. Chopped up about a cup and a half, a cup and 3/4 of yellow onion, and now we're going to caramelize it on the stove. Now that our onions are cooked and cooling to the side, we can begin preparing the filling. Starting off with about 3 cups of chopped defrosted frozen spinach here. I started by thawing my spinach and then squeezing out all of the water from it. And I actually saved the water to show you. This is why this step is so essential in preparing this dish. We want our Spanakopitakia to be nice and crispy and flaky. And if you have this much extra water in the filling, it's really hard to get that crispy texture. To our spinach, we are going to add lots of ricotta cheese. And then we're also going to add Parmesan cheese. Normally I would add around half a cup of Parmesan cheese, but this is all I had in my fridge, so we'll make do for today. Lastly, we're going to add about a cup of crumbled feta. I wanted to show you when you buy it in a block in brine, how I normally crumble it. The brine helps the cheese to retain its moisture, so it's just a little bit more creamy. I think the texture is nicer. Crumble the feta, and now I'm just going to add it right into our mixture. I'm going to add some fresh cracked pepper. I'm also adding some salt. Next, I'm going to add some freshly ground nutmeg. The way I like to grind my nutmeg is I just take the little pod and my microplane and I just grate it right over. I almost forgot to add the onions. The last step for this filling is I'm going to add 1 cracked egg. Now that we've completed our filling, it's time for the most fun part of this recipe, which is working with Filo. Quick Filo 101. Filo is a type of pastry commonly used in Greek cooking. Often it's found in the United States in the frozen food section in a package like this. I highly recommend letting it defrost in the fridge the night before you're going to use it. This helps to keep it from kind of crackling when you open it up. So we'll start by just opening the package. Filo comes in a little tube like this. It's often wrapped in a thin layer of plastic as well. And I'm just going to gently use my kitchen shears and remove the thin plastic that surrounds it. This pastry is truly as thin as paper. Very gently unroll it. I like to do this over a cutting board. Beautiful sheets of Filo. I'll cut this into 3 pieces. Just sort of figure out roughly where the middle is, and very carefully cut through all of these pieces of Filo. This is why I like to do this over a cutting board. Now what I'll do is I'll take these rows very gently and stack them on top, like this. I have a dishcloth here which I've dampened. Take the damp dishcloth and just gently lay it over the Filo. Because it is so thin, Filo dries out very quickly and it starts to crack, making it a lot harder to work with. By keeping a damp towel on top of it, you prevent the airflow from making it dry. I have a pan here that I've lined with parchment paper. I also melted a stick of butter and I have a small pastry brush ready. And then I've also added a piece of parchment paper directly to my counter, which makes for slightly easier cleanup. We start off by taking 2 of the strips of Filo, and now I'm going to take this melted butter and just run a little bit directly up the strip of Filo. Now I'm going to take, I'd say this is about 2 tablespoons of the mixture, and set it right down at the base of the Filo. Now we're going to do our fold, and this is actually quite simple. You take the bottom left corner of the Filo and fold it over into a triangle. Next, once we have our triangle, we're going to take the bottom right corner and fold it upward, so we still have a triangle. And we're going to keep doing the same thing, just folding up and across, so that we keep a triangle shape here until we get to the top. If you do find yourself with a little bit of a margin here, all you need to do is fold that Filo over, and I like to give it just a little bit more butter here before I do my last fold that acts as kind of an adhesive to keep it closed. And this is what it looks like when it's folded. It's time for one final touch before we put them in the oven, which is to brush the tops generously with butter. I've preheated the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to bake these until they are beautiful and golden and crispy on top. Hope that this episode has inspired you to try cooking with Filo, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for cooking with me.